Hey there. Welcome to the Gyro Step, a Milwaukee Bucks podcast, proudly a part of the Blue Wire Podcast Network and the Gyro Step Podcast Network. I am Ty Windisch, one of your hosts, joined as always by the bubbly Rohan Katti. Rohan, already cracking up. How's it going, sir?
I'm doing very, very well. It's been a good weekend, good time, and I get to talk Bucks basketball. What else could you ask for in lifetime?
I don't know. I mean, this is pretty much, some personal things aside, family, friends. This is pretty much it. It's pretty much all I need. Let's get down into it. The big news. We have a giveaway. I think we'll circle back. We got to talk Khris Middleton right now, dude. We have been talking all season with bated breath about the arrival of Khris Middleton because, not sure if you had heard this, Rohan. He hadn't played all year, dealing with the knee injury, and then the wrist injury, and then a tragedy in the family, as detailed by Jim Ozarski. We covered more of that stuff on the last podcast we did before he returned. That's all done now. Khris is back. He made his debut on Friday night against the Lakers. The Bucks may have lost, but Khris, I thought, looked excellent. 17 points, 7 assists, 2 rebounds for Khris in the debut. The middies look sharp. He's shooting 75% from 3. Really picking up where he left off as a human flamethrower. Rohan, do you agree with that basic assessment? And what else did you see from Khris in his debut?
First and foremost, it's amazing that he looked that efficient when he hadn't played basketball since May.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous. This is you guys talked about this on Win in 6, the last episode here on the Gyro Step Podcast Network feed. Make sure you're subscribed if you're not already.
GSPN.info. But it's the same feed. It's the same feed, but find all the shows at GSPN.info.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Plus Discord access, all that fun stuff. It's awesome. But you guys detailed how it's exciting to see Khris Middleton back first and foremost, but I did not expect him to look this good right away. You would expect some level of rust. You would expect some level of okay, you're not in rhythm yet. You need to get up to game speed, because we know that he had been practicing with the Wisconsin Herd. He'd been assigned there a few times because the Bucks as a team don't really practice. So it's
no NBA teams do, by the way. Not just a Bucks thing. Just so no one listening is like, oh, why don't they practice? They should do that. There's not time with the season, how many games there are, etc.
Yeah. Plus, especially a team like the Bucks who has so much cohesion.
They've been guys.
And old guys. You want to be able to save guys. There's no need really at this point, especially for a team that's gearing for the postseason rather than the regular season. A team like Milwaukee does not need to practice as much. It's not a bad thing. Don't worry. Yeah. Thank you for clarifying. Yeah. It's amazing to see that he did not need to get a few games under his system before he got into a rhythm. He came ready. It's like the saying, stay ready so you don't have to get ready. He stayed ready even though he just resumed basketball activities like a few weeks ago.
Yeah, for the most recent time, yeah.
It's ridiculous. Ridiculous to see. So happy for our guy, Khris Middleton. We've always been a pro Khris Middleton podcast.
Yeah.
It's like you said, the midi looked good, the 3-pointer looked good, his jumper overall, his playmaking looked fantastic. And once he got the ball in his hands and was able to create, you could instantly see, oh yeah, this is what this team has been missing. Yeah. Just another guy who can do things with the ball in his hands, who you can trust, who is dependable. I'm overjoyed talking about Khris Middleton right now, Ty.
Yeah, I mean, I am too. We talked about some of those possessions where the offense just felt kind of listless, or Jrue or Giannis takes a bad shot, whatever, where it's like, oh, they're just missing something. As we kind of knew that they were missing Khris Middleton. That was it. And there was a couple of possessions in the Lakers game. We've only seen him once. He and the other two of the big three all sat out against Charlotte. We'll probably talk about that game a little bit. I didn't get to watch it live. I know you did catch at least most of it. Cool to grab a win there and stay firmly in second in the East, even without all those guys playing. But so we've seen Khris the one game. But there were some possessions where it's like, the offense, nothing's really happening. No one's getting an advantage. Swing it around to him behind the arc, and he just makes a semi-contested 3. And it's like, oh, That was easy. That was pretty nice to just be able to do that whenever you want. Oh yeah, I forget the Bucks. That's kind of how their offense has worked all these years, and that's like the ultimate. He's like a tight end in football. He's the ultimate safety valve. If nothing else is working, at literally any point, you can just hand the ball to Khris Middleton and be like, "Hey, can you do something good?" And Khris is like, "Yeah, I can." I was rewatching his top 10 career plays, and number one, according to NBA.com, I don't know if I agree with this, but it's the Celtics playoff with 0.8 seconds left.
Oh, the half court.
Pretty much half court, yeah. I think he's slightly inside of it, but he's pretty close to it. And it's just like, that is the ultimate Khris Middleton. Like, you know, there's some variance with Khris. We all know this, but there's 0.8 seconds left. You just need someone to shoot immediately, and it doesn't matter if he's covered. Like, that's Khris, and he does little versions of that all the time. The playmaking stood out. And I almost feel like this may have been maybe a focus for him as he was out, and maybe watching and working on like the mental aspect of the game, because it did feel like, I don't know, maybe it's just that we haven't seen him in so long. And Jrue is a good playmaker, and we got to watch him. It just felt so easy for Khris because of his combination of shooting and playmaking. You know, he had a couple bad plays. I don't think had no turnovers though officially. I think it was like almost a turnover, and the Bucks ended up with it. The play I'm thinking of, but I don't know. It just felt like he was slicing through the Lakers defense like a hot knife through butter. Is that a new one for you?
No, I've heard that one.
I'm good. Okay. That's pretty, yeah. That one's been around. So I'm glad you tuned in there.
I think Mark Jones likes that one.
Hotter than fish grease. Such a good one. Khris was hotter than fish grease, but the playmaking, I was just like, wow, that's really impressive to see everything look so sharp right away. Do you feel like that was just Khris's playmaking, or do you think it was like I do, like a little bit beyond what we'd seen on a normal basis?
I mean, it's fair to say it's a little bit above a normal game for Khris Middleton. Like if he's averaging 7 assists per game right now for the entire season, which he is because he's played one game this season, that would be the highest of his career. Like he's been hovering around 6 assists these past few seasons, like 5.5. Like it's getting up there.
Yeah,
but it's never been this high. So I would say it is an above average game, and it feels like it was an above average game. Like obviously assists don't tell the entire story in terms of creation for an offense, but just the way he was being decisive in his passes, in his reads, it looked like, yeah, this is Khris. This is a guy who's actually leveled up his basketball IQ in terms of being an actual playmaker.
It just looks so easy. I mean, Khris is never
effortless, effortless.
Yeah, like, and that's so impressive because we all know, or maybe some people don't. Maybe some people are such new Bucks fans they haven't watched that much Khris. I kind of forget that's like possible. Probably not likely, but it is possible. Doesn't have the tightest handle. That's like probably Chris's biggest bugaboo outside of general consistency. I think the two are pretty linked, right? But I don't know. It didn't look like, obviously I wasn't watching like, oh my God, is that 2016 Kyrie Irving out there? Like it was still Khris. It wasn't like some crazy dribble packages, but
Can you beat Paul George? Like
even that's, Paul George is a hell of a,
yeah, that's what
he doesn't even have to be that. I mean, Kawhi's handle, I guess.
Yeah, that's fair.
Kawhi just has monster hands. So if he's in trouble, he can just palm it at any point. But I guess a lot of NBA players could probably do that too. I digress. I don't know. I loved how easy it looked for Khris in the first game back. You know, I'm sure there'll be some bumps in the road as he gets all the way acclimated, but I sure am happy that the Bucks were diligent about taking their time and making sure that he was in game shape, because it really looked like he was. He only played a little under 27 minutes. Also, that's another like point for it was a different level of Khris playmaking because it was higher than his career average in like way less minutes. I mean, Khris is usually low 30s, 6 minutes, not a ton, but it's not nothing either. You know, he racked up those assists pretty quickly. But that extra time, Bud talked about like making sure, you know, he was ramped up and ready. He sure looked ready. And I think you'd much rather have to wait a couple more weeks than to get an unfinished rehab Khris where, you know, he's looking a little gassed out there. It just doesn't look right. Whatever the process was, it seems like they really nailed it on this.
Oh, for sure. One thing the Bucks are very good at is making sure their guys are right when they come back. Medical staff does an amazing job, a tremendous job just sort of making sure guys are ready to come back and be healthy. And that's another example in Khris Middleton. Like, he came back and he's ready to go. It's so nice. I can't wait to see him play again because obviously, like you mentioned, he sat out the Hornets game. It's a back-to-back. You don't want to play a guy on the second night of a back-to-back.
I have a tirade.
Okay, go.
It wasn't just a back-to-back. It's a back-to-back the NBA should ban. I mean, not ban, it's just not schedule anymore. It's up to them. It was a sub 24 hours between tip back-to-back. So it was 6:30 the first game when they played the Lakers in Milwaukee. And then the next game was 5 p.m. Central Time because they were playing in Charlotte the next night. That's insane to me. Sub 24 hours. Because
home road back to back.
Yeah, I mean, Charlotte is not the world's longest trip or anything, but you still travel after either night of or early morning after a game, and it's just like sub 24 hours because even if it's like 7 p.m. back to back, it's still less than 24 hours. Like between the end of a game and the start of the next game. That's fine. There's only so much you can do about that with NBA time slots. But there should not be like 18 hours between the end of a game and the start of a next game. I just feel like, of course the Bucks were going to rest Khris and some other guys. The Hornets didn't look good either. They played the night before. I know the league is trying to minimize back-to-backs, but I think they should really ensure that there are no, 6:30 and then 5 p.m. the same time zone tips. Like, that's just too quick of a turnaround. So thankfully, as we've talked about, this is a very deep Bucks team, and they were able to just have different people step up and kind of make up for that. And
the Hornets are really bad.
Yeah, that helps too. That helps too, for sure. But I mean, just like, Mamu, AJ Green seemed to play pretty well. TA got some run. Bobby, Brook stepped up. I don't know how Brook's doing it. I don't know. We know Brook likes to play. We know in years past, it's been a story, right? Like, he doesn't want to sit game 82, even though the seeding is set, whatever else. I can't believe how many games he's played this season. It's nutty.
Right? We talked before the season about how potentially Serge coming back is like Brook Lopez insurance because you're going to be resting Brook more. Nope, apparently not. It's just not happening.
He's playing 31 minutes a game. Has played all 22 of the games, so he's by default pretty much leading the Bucks in total minutes. Then I'm sure, and the efficiency is higher than ever. We have to circle back to the starting lineup decision that was made when Khris came back. But I can't stop talking about Brook now that I'm started. I say the same things about Brook every time. The analysis, there's no update. He's still fucking awesome. It's a censored episode now. Sorry, folks, but it's Brook Lopez. I mean, you looking at, what has he got? 15 points per game, 49% from the field, 41% from deep. The Noah changing lives out here, 82% from free throw, just under 6 rebounds, over 1 assist, which is nice for a big guy. 0.6 steals, 3 blocks per game. Oh, we have Brook news we can talk about with this.
Oh, yeah, true.
What was this, Woj on a TV show?
Yeah, it was.
I think, on NBA Today. I don't know, we can pull it up, but he basically said there's interest from both sides in either an extension or just re-signing him after his deal is up. His bird rights are there, so that it's not like they for sure lose him if they don't extend him. They have until the end of the regular season, though, I believe, if they want to do it early. This was also being talked about a little before that news. Al Horford signed a pretty reasonable extension for a couple of years in Boston. A similar deal, even if it's a little more money per year or more years. I don't care. Get Brook. We need Brook. Look at this man. I trust him to age gracefully because we're seeing it happen.
Yes. So the reporting was that the Bucks and Brook Lopez are prioritizing a contract extension, either in this season or following the season in the summer. And that Milwaukee wants Brook Lopez to finish his career there, which is just that's just speaking. That's my love language right there. Whatever category that is, it's that. Just so we can see Brook Lopez retire and Milwaukee Buck, have him go into the Hall of Fame as a Milwaukee Buck, have him go up into the rafters with that number 11 jersey hanging in Fiserv. We might need to start a new line of
these right here. If the extension gets done, we might have to.
We do.
Yeah, at least 5 numbers going up. Bobby, yep. I think, is probably the next closest. He's on the way.
I'd say so.
He's on the way. Brook is awesome.
He's top 3-4 center in Bucks history.
Well, he can't be one. Unfortunately, I love you, Brook. He can't be one.
I don't think he's 2 either.
You think what Bogut?
Or like Bob Lanier or something.
But by the time Bob Lanier was on the Bucks, though, I mean, it was a part of a great era for sure. I gotta look just to reconfirm. I think I might give the edge to Brook here, though.
So he's at least top 3. How about that?
Early Bucks tenure, Bob Lanier was like 14-7. He made one All-Star team with the Bucks. I think it's one of those.
Brooks made 0 though.
For now.
That
should change this year. It should change.
Let's have a little bit of that conversation.
Okay.
How many centers? I know they're not going to do centers for All-Star. It's front court and guard.
But the coaches will want a center or 2 on the team.
Yeah. How many centers in the East are playing better than Brook Lopez? 1.
It's people. Some Bucks fans will say 0. Embiid is still.
Embiid is yes. Yeah. It's 1 realistically.
Miles Turner's up there.
He's close.
having a good year. Really wants to get traded. Probably won't be on the Pacers by the time they have the All-Star game.
And that's fine. Just clearing another spot because he's already bought real estate in LA. Like at this rate, I don't know if he has or not, but. It's just
Bam is good and always going to be in consideration. I'm not saying he was better. I'm just saying he's gonna merit. He's gonna get conversation. How about that?
Sure. Maybe be an above 500 team.
Yeah, I think I would try it personally.
Yeah, just like maybe give that a shot for once, Miami.
I think it's been pretty fun, to be honest.
Oh, we're gonna get some heat for that.
They've got enough to worry about.
Get some heat for that.
Yeah, that's good what you did there.
Thank you. But yeah, Brook Lopez just absolutely sensational. He deserves to be an All-Star this season. He deserves All-NBA consideration this season.
Yeah, I mean, they still do a center for that, don't they?
They do.
Yeah, he could end up one of the best 3 centers in the league this year.
I mean, like top 2 are already locked up, but
yeah. It would be nice if they did end up putting 2 of them on the same team, but I don't think they will.
No, after last season, they're not going to.
Yeah.
Ever. That kind of set the precedent.
Yeah, I mean, like, Minnesota imploding helps Brooks' chances there. I think I'm probably forgetting someone who's going to end up being obvious.
Ayton is in contention.
Yeah, he's having a good year.
It'll be tough, though.
I'll take the All-Star.
He's up there.
Yeah,
I'll take an All-Star. I'll take any sort of recognition as long as he gets that Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, which early signs are good. There's a lot of time to go, but the early buzz has been good.
Yeah. Okay. Before we got it fell in love with Brook Lopez again.
Easy to do.
He's very easy to do. He was fighting mascots in Charlotte. It was awesome. We were talking about the starting lineup.
Yeah.
Starting lineup change. So you guys, Adam and Jordan on the last 1 and 6, as I alluded to earlier, talked about the who would you rather start or bench in this instance, Jevon Carter or Grayson Allen? Who would you rather send to the bench? Adam and Jordan, having morphed into one cute couple, have both chosen Jevon Carter to go to the bench.
Adam agreed with me, but also agreed with Jordan. They've become the same person because Adam sat on the fence. Adam was like, I agree with both of you. I think Jevon, I'm pretty sure, I misremember things, but I'm pretty sure he said, I think Jevon should start, but I think Jordan made a bunch of great points about Grayson. I was like, okay. What compelling radio.
Okay, regardless, I am inclined to agree with you, Ty, and say that Jevon Carter was the guy who should start. Just because you get the defensive versatility that you unlock. Jrue Holiday is able to be, you can be more flexible in who you put Jrue on. You can have another ball handler out there. Just hard-nosed defense out there at all times. And like Grayson, if he's coming off the bench, can theoretically get hot in that role. Early returns, we've had one game sample. The starting lineup did look all right. Like Grayson looked fine next to Khris. Like I have no issue with that. Jevon looked like he sort of did not have a rhythm. which is that something to do with, is it a one-game thing, or is it a disruption of rhythm in his first game this season coming off the bench? That's something that needs to be monitored going forward. Because there is potential, like, hey, Jevon Carter, he started every single game for the Milwaukee Bucks this season. Now, his first game, he's coming off the bench. That's going to disrupt your rhythm a little bit. You have to come in and get hot immediately, otherwise you're going to throw off the rhythm. And it's a difficult adjustment to make. Is that it's just something we're going to need to monitor going forward.
Yeah, my biggest question, and again, it's too bad we've only had one game so far. We'll obviously circle back and dig more into what we see. But is it possible it was a matchup thing? With the Lakers being pretty big and pretty big-centric? And does Bud look at this and go, yeah, Troy Brown, good player. We're not that worried about Troy Brown. Patrick Beverley made a 3 in that game. I think they had to release Doves in Staples Center by law because it's such a rare occurrence. We're not that concerned offensively about Patrick Beverley. That's what I'm curious about. If they come out, I don't even know who they play next because I didn't do my research. Next up is the Magic. Not a good example. They have 0 guards. But then the Kings with De'Aaron Fox. Do we see Grayson start, assuming everyone plays both games, which they should. There's time off around them. Does Grayson start against the Magic, who I think are playing bigger? Because, again, all of their guards are hurt, or at least last time I checked. Maybe somewhere back now. And then do we see Jevon Carter start against the Kings? Because obviously De'Aaron Fox is a problem and is a small guard. Or is it just locked in? That's my number one question now. It would not be very Bud to switch the starting lineup based on regular season matchups. That said, I do feel like he has been more like making adjustments, maybe not all that have been that great before needing to, or necessarily like not in game, right? Like we saw a lot of doubling against Embiid and Philly, which is not something the Bucks do very often, just like from the jump. And maybe you could argue it worked, it didn't work. Embiid didn't shoot well. He did pass very well though, and that kind of crushed them in that game. So, and the way they defended Luka, like they never gave Luka they tried not to give Luka switches. They would show and then try to get his defender back on him. So we are seeing, I think, Bud being a little more flexible in the regular season, night to night. I don't know if that'll apply to the starting lineup though. But that's what do you think that's possible, and what would your thoughts be on that?
I think it's possible, but it's not likely.
Yeah,
just given the track record.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen it maybe a little bit in the past, like last regular season, a little bit as we wind down the season, but it's not his MO. That's not what Bud does. He's not going to do something. Yeah.
And that wasn't that wasn't night to night. That was like Wes took the job last year. Yeah. I think that's a little different than what I'm proposing is like, team with multiple smaller guards or multiple dangerous guards more accurately. Let's throw Jevon in there.
We've seen it a little bit in the sense like if someone's out and you have to find a replacement, then there's more game to game adjustments. Like if it's a bigger team, you're going to start Bobby. Yep. If it's a smaller team, you'll start Grayson or Jevon, Pat. Exactly. Like we've seen that. But in terms of like the actual starting 5, we have not really seen that.
Yeah, that's a good distinction. It'll be interesting to monitor over these next couple of weeks. I'm still team Jevon. I thought Grayson and the starters looked really good. And I think thinking back on our conversation, Jordan's perspective was very much like what's going to be best for some of the players involved, like Grayson, for example. I don't care about that as much as the good of the team. And I do think the way Grayson's shooting, I think that makes his case better. And not like just the accuracy, but like he's running around pin downs and letting it fly, which is not something we've consistently seen from him. And him playing like that does change things for his fit with the starters. That said, currently I still do lean Jevon Carter as the optimal 5th starter because I think the Bucks win with defense more often than not. Or at least more often than winning with offense. And I like leaning into that. I like weaponizing Jrue on the defensive end. And I think Jevon is a good 5th starter. I do worry, will there be the possessions for him? There wasn't when he came off the bench. I think that's the number one thing is would like to see him used a little bit more offensively as well as defensively, no matter where he is, because he's shown us like he's got ball handling chops. He's got shooting and scoring chops. His usage has been too inconsistent for the skill level he has shown. And whether that's bench or starters, like I would honestly, if obviously they would never say this publicly or out loud, but if the reasoning was we think over time we can weaponize, I keep saying weaponize, but we can get the ball in Jevon's hands better and get him more consistent usage if we bring him off the bench, I would say fine. You know what? I would understand that, and it is about who closes anyway. But yeah, it'll be interesting to monitor, and I don't think there's a glaringly wrong answer, even though I do prefer one over the other.
No, for sure. Like we saw, Grayson looked really good with the starters. We've seen that in the past. That's why he was starting the majority of last regular season. It's like I really, really have I'm not upset that Grayson's starting. You know, like would I prefer Jevon? Yes. But is Grayson a good option too? Absolutely. Could it work out really well? Absolutely. That's an option. It's all about what can you do to maximize the skill set. Would Jevon also look good with Khris back in the lineup? Most likely, you know? Like Khris being like the rising tide raises all ships.
Lifts all boats. Right? Yeah.
Yeah. I got an expression. Let's go.
That was good. Yeah.
Thank you. So, Khris being back, does that unlock a new level of Jevon as a starter? We don't know. We won't know until we see it. You know.
I also wonder, is this partially about Grayson being more of a dog on defense this year?
It might, credit to him.
Yeah.
He's making insane defensive plays every single game now. Like he's getting rear contest blocks into baseline saves that transition to fast breaks. And I'm like, this is Grayson Allen? This is my boy Grayson or whatever people are calling him. Like this is like the strides he's making. We have to remember, how old is Grayson? Like he's still a young guy.
He's 27. So thank you for saying that.
Yeah, he's a young guy.
Couple of young guys, me and Grayson.
27's young. Like you're basically just entering the prime of your career, like your physical prime.
Oh,
like you like it's true.
No, I know it's true. I know.
Yeah, like there's still room to develop there, and he's making the strides. He's had the athleticism, he has the basketball IQ, and now he's putting it all together. Like he's big. He has a 6'6" wingspan. He has a +2 wingspan. Like maybe he's just putting it together now, and that's awesome. Maybe this extension is going to look like a joke next year. Who knows?
Career highs in free throw percentage, rebounds per 36 and per game. I just wanted to do per 36 to make sure, and assists per 36 too. And if you recall, that was sneakily my biggest issue with Grayson, was that he was not moving the ball enough for how often he touched it. He's addressed it. And does he have some abhorrent turnovers? Yes, he does. But not as many. He's still rocking a 2 assist to turnover ratio this season. He's over 1 steal per 36, second best mark in his career, versus the kind of his breakout season in Memphis where he started a lot of games for them for the year before he came over to the Bucks. Right now would be a career high in 3-point percentage. Like he's just doing a lot of really important things well. Kind of killing the Jae Crowder buzz. A little bit. Yeah.
Like what is Jae Crowder providing right now that Grayson isn't right now?
Probably still more defense.
More defense.
Yeah.
But do you need that on this team right now?
Maybe you do because of segue time. A concerning development was with Wesley Matthews. My guy Wes. Everyone who listens. Our guy Wes for sure. But Zippy, I came up with Zippy. I've been very pro Wes. You have too. I'm not taking this away from you. But I'm just saying I have been very pro Wes. Hurts my heart to see what's going on this season. It's not just the offense. The offense is bad.
The reading materials are
they're distributed. I've got them right here in front of me. This is this is Shea Serrano's book, but imagine it's Wes Matthews maybe washed reading material.
Good reading material though.
That is a good, I was digging back through it, but like the numbers look worse than they are. He's not making his threes. He's also looks like he's shooting 33% from 2. He is, but he's 4 for 12. So it's a really small sample. I'm not going to get too worked up about that just yet. Most concerning, the Laker game, LeBron is just like backdoor cutting him to death and just like getting around him. And Grayson, for the last few years, has relied on strength and intelligence more than speed.
Wes has.
Oh, what did I say, Grayson?
Grayson?
Oh, yeah. No, Grayson has not relied on those things. Well, I'm not saying – I digress.
Continue.
Wes Matthews has relied on strength and intelligence more than speed defensively. But on the one hand, it's LeBron James, one of the best players ever. On the other hand, it's 38-year-old LeBron. It's not exactly like contending with one of the fastest wings in the game out there. And it just looked so easy to get around Wes. And it was really bad. He was active but did not play against Charlotte. I don't know if there was any reporting on if that was just a healthy scratch or what. I assume probably just a DMP without calling it that. Or I guess technically calling it that, whatever. But not marking him as out before the game is what I mean. It's not been good. So I think if there is a pro Crowder case, it's less about Grayson. It's not like, oh, we need to get rid of Grayson. No, Grayson's playing well. I still won't fully trust him till playoffs. Nothing he can do about that until then, though, except keep playing well. It's more looking at Wes and going, our first option off the bench for a big wing is not looking very good on either end. It's early. I'm not totally giving up. I'm just saying the signs are not good.
Yeah, it's not looking good. This is why in recent games you've started to see Wes Matthews and his minutes sort of decline. Sometimes you don't see him until the second half, and you're like, oh yeah, Wes Matthews. Like, love Wes Matthews, like you said earlier, just Marquette guy and everything. But like, it's tough to watch out there. It's getting to the point where I'm glad we brought this up because I was thinking this before the Laker game on was that Friday? Yeah, Friday.
Yeah, it was.
Before the Laker game, I was thinking I really need to see what Wes Matthews does in this game because I'm starting to think he's a little cooked.
Yeah.
And then I watched the Laker game.
It's really bad. Maybe the worst of the season.
He might be cooked. He might be cooked. He might be cooked, Ty. Like, is there a chance? Is there a chance that he's just taking it easy, coasting the regular season, saving his energy? Because remember, it's just December. It is just December.
But everything he says is that he doesn't do that.
Yeah.
Like, he wants to start. He wants to play 40 minutes. Maybe he's
playing 4, 5, 6-dimensional chess.
Hopefully, yeah, just tricking us all for no real reason. Shooting free throws well.
I'd hope so. For like the 2 he gets every month.
0.4 per game.
That's 2 every month, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
But it's just I don't like seeing it. Like you mentioned, like him getting backdoor cut and him just losing guys. And him just like not having even a little bit of a step to keep up with guys on the defensive end. It's just not like we don't expect anything from him on the offensive end except like hit, catch, and shoot threes.
I was gonna say maybe a little bit more than we're seeing here.
Yeah, I mean, like he's sub 30% from 3 on the season.
29.8. Yeah,
and he's not even getting that many shots up in a game.
One of the Lakers misses, like, it was bad. It just fell into Anthony Davis's hands.
Yeah.
It was like a pass. This is tough. And I think
it is.
I think he's kind of lumped in there with George Hill by some. George has been better.
George has been better.
Not good, but better.
He's on the borderline of good.
He's somehow shooting 29% from 3. And 68% from free throw. What is going on, George?
Okay, when you put it like that.
And he's just out there. He's 5 points per game. Like, yeah, it's fine. I mean, he does quietly good things. The plus minus when he's on there is good. He does have 2.5 assists per game without playing all that much. I would prefer if he just wasn't a part of the everyday rotation, though.
Yeah, like if it's a Charlotte game, that's when you play him.
Yeah, but the issue is he's playing a pretty decent amount so far.
Yeah, maybe that's part of the reason why you see Jevon Carter going to the bench. So he can be that backup point guard. rather than George Hill.
Yeah.
And I think we came into the season thinking it was going to be a little bit of a battle to see who's going to have a higher spot, Jevon Carter or George Hill. That's not even a question at this point anymore. It's not even like if you're asking the question, you are outing yourself that you do not watch any basketball.
And I know people are still worried. I think they're going to be worried until the playoffs. But if you look at the last few games here, it was kind of close in the Charlotte game. Their minutes 28-26, but that's just a weird game for a lot of reasons. If you look at the Lakers game, coming off the bench, Jevon played 20 minutes, George Hill played 9. So it's been pretty still decisively more Jevon than George so far, which is good. I think
Jevon's better.
We're just going to setting Ingles aside, which I'm just going to continue to do. If your first 4 off the bench, let's just assume the starters stay the same for now, is Jevon Carter, Pat Connaughton, Bobby Portis. I guess your first 3 off the bench. I don't know who the 4th one is, but that first 3 off the bench is damn good.
Yeah. I mean, maybe Serge. We haven't seen him in a while.
Yeah, the non-COVID illness has him and Marjon out for a while.
I saw a tweet that he's just been cooking up some weird stuff for the team that's just led to non-COVID illness.
You wouldn't think it would get him, though.
I mean, he has to taste test his own food.
That's true. I don't know. For some reason, I feel like he would just be like immune to whatever he cooks.
It's just been rampant. Make sure you guys are up to date on your vaccines, by the way.
Got my flu shot. I got the flu once. Never again. It's bad.
Yeah. Just it's very easy, very simple. Make sure you guys do that.
Yeah.
But it's just first 3 off the bench, they are solid, and even if it's a deep playoff series, 3 off the bench is fine. Like that's all you need, realistically.
And we know there's going to be a move at some point.
There will be.
Trader John. What are your updated Wara thoughts? I didn't get to watch the Charlotte game. Seemed like he played pretty well. Believe he got an upstock.
He did.
What do you think? I know the shooting numbers are really bad. I still feel like he's played better than the numbers. He's 35.9% from the field, 35.8% from 3. So just nothing is falling. I think if he went on a little bit of a heater to normalize those numbers, I think he'd be like a pretty average rotation player, which is good. That's progress.
He looked fine in the Charlotte game. Like he shot really well from the field. What was he? 7 of 11 from the field, 2 of 4 from 3.
Yeah, on the come up a little bit.
Yeah, it was very good. He missed as many threes as he did free throws. He was 1 of 3 from the free throw line.
Bucks are up bad. They're bottom of the league, not number 30, I think, but close to the bottom of the league in free throws, right?
Oh yeah,
in rate, I should say.
Yeah, and percentage.
I meant percentage. I did not mean. I think they draw a lot because Giannis just draws a lot, but I think percentage-wise, they are very, very low.
Yeah, I mean, you love to see the team learning a lot from Giannis, but like maybe not that. You know,
the rest of the Bucks, Luka just bricking them all just to be more like Giannis.
Yep. But Jordan Wara's looked fine. Do I think Bud's going to trust him at all? I think he's going to no. I still think he's there just to be traded, but I don't know. He's looked better. He's looked fine. Nothing's wowed me. Like the Charlotte game is probably not a good example because you have 0 of the big 3 playing, but it's just, I don't know. I'm still a little bit out on Jordan Wara. But that's just where I'm at.
They are 27th in free throw percentage, 15th.
Who's shooting worse?
In order. The Spurs are 28th. It's all young guys. I feel like that makes sense. The Mavericks, because Luka can't make them, and he's probably the only one who takes them. And then Memphis is last. Taylor Jenkins brought that over.
That one I didn't expect. I did not expect Memphis.
I guess Ja must not shoot very. I mean, it all has something to do with the best players, right? Because they take a big amount of the total.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think Steven Adams doesn't shoot well, if I recall correctly.
Yeah. What is Ja Morant shooting from the free throw line this year?
74%. Steven Adams, 30%. Whoa. And Xavier Tillman, he plays less, but still 30% as well. Wow.
Yikes.
30%.
That's like worse than Ben Simmons.
0.9 of 3 per game is Steven Adams' free throw. That is, whew.
Yeah, like playoff Ben Simmons, last time we saw him in the playoffs was 34.2%. And it's like, oh my God, this is the worst guy we've ever seen. Now that Memphis has two guys doing worse than that.
Kennedy Chandler also at 30%. He just hasn't played much, though.
Yeah, that's fair.
Ben Simmons this year, 54% on the come up.
Yeah.
Bucks fans can't
dangerously close. Dangerously close to Giannis.
Yeah, Bucks fans can't throw stones with the free throws right now.
What is Giannis at right now?
He's at 61%.
That's despicable.
Yeah,
that's really bad.
Were you buying into the he's changing his thing during the Lakers game because it counted and he got hit with the violation?
No, I mean it happens every game.
That's the issue with Giannis is he changes his form all the time.
Yeah, so I'm not going to buy that. I've watched too much Giannis games to actually buy into that because it's like, oh, every time there's a national TV broadcast, they'll say it's a different. Hey, they're changing routine. Go into a detail. It's like, oh, this is a different thing than we talked about last national TV game.
It's like, yeah,
it's a completely new routine. We're like 3 iterations past that one already.
I just, this is such a bad way to segue into Giannis, but it's like. I'm not one of the people who gets worked up if they call him.
No, of course not.
He should stop breaking the rule. Like it's a bad justification for it to be like, then you should call it more. Like, let's not say that. He'd only be able to shoot half of his free throws if they called it accurately every time. I just think he should shoot them faster. It can't be worse, right? Like, I'm also on board with him trying the granny shot thing, the Rick Barry free throw. Because again, how could it really get worse? It's pretty bad. He had a good game against LA, though, I think, right?
Yeah. Against the Lakers, I believe.
I think he cleaned it up a little bit.
He was, let me pull it up real quick. He was 8 of 11.
Yeah, pretty good for Giannis.
Free throw line. Yeah, 72.7%. That's good. That's a good day for Giannis. I hate that so much.
I know.
It's like I hate that this is the segue to Giannis too, because Giannis is everything for this team and like
the
still
straw
remains.
that stirs the drink.
Sure.
I've used that one before. You can't.
Yeah, you have.
You can't be surprised at that one.
I wasn't surprised. I was more surprised. I guess. Yeah, I just don't like that one.
Yeah.
But Giannis has just been absolutely incredible still. Like, I don't know what else to say. Like, he's 8 of 11 from the line. He has 40 points. He's chased down blocking everyone.
Yeah.
He's doing run and dunk man things, which is nice to see. Like, it's funny how we've transitioned from, wow, Giannis is more than run and dunk man to do, hey, Giannis do more run and dunk man things. But
when the jumper's as bad as it has been for him, hopefully that turns around soon. I don't know.
I mean, it can only go up. Realistically.
Technically, no. Realistically, hopefully. Hopefully.
Hopefully, yeah.
Cool moment. When he chased down the nice chase down, it was on LeBron. And LeBron is still a great player right now, but like kind of just looked so like it looked like one of those nature things where there's like a baby deer and like a lion, right? And I was just like, it reminded me of that All-Star game. I think it was the first Elam ending All-Star game, and they were going at it. And I think LeBron's team ends up winning, but
he blocked the fadeaway. That's what it was.
And at that point, I remember it still being kind of a conversation about, is Giannis on that level? Is Giannis better? Whatever. And it's just kind of fun that we've got from now. Just like, yeah, he is. Like, yeah, he's.
No,
he's
it's not.
Yeah,
it's not that. It's not. He's on the level. It's.
Yeah, that's what
LeBron,
I mean.
It's like, is LeBron even close to Giannis?
Yeah.
At this point, which is like, we're getting to the twilight of LeBron's career. Like, obviously, he's one of the greatest players to ever play the game of basketball. All respect to him, but it's just like he's not that guy right now, and there's no shame in that. Like, he's 38 years old. There's no shame in that.
No, but it reminded me of that moment, and I was like, oh yeah, I remember when that was a thing way back.
Oh yeah, it's nice. Yeah, no, it's I'm glad you brought that up because it's nice to have these moments where you're like, yeah, Giannis is the best player on the freaking planet.
He's
like,
him.
Yeah, he's him. He rhymes with, have you seen those memes where it's like all these images rhyme and it's like Rim, Kim, like Jim from The Office, and then like a picture
of a player. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
But yeah, he's him. He continues to be him. What are your thoughts on Giannis and the MVP conversation?
I'm not too passionate about it, just because I think by his standards, he hasn't played his best ball for the last couple of weeks. I thought the first month or so of the season, I think he was the clear MVP. I think since like early to mid-ish November, he's had some great moments, but on the whole, he's been great, but he's been like at or below the greatness bar that you expect from him, right? And I think, I don't know who, I guess Tatum right now would be one of the like by default guys because they're first and he's playing really well. He played poorly against Miami, I know, but on the whole, he's playing great this season. I mean, I just think I would need to see him level back up to that, at least close to that early season of like, oh my God, Giannis versus for minutes on minutes on minutes, not just like, oh yeah, Giannis got his way to, 35 points. That's great. He had a good game. He had a good Giannis game. We take him for granted. I get it. But I just think he's not been up there. I think he should be in the conversation right now, but I don't think he's like a clear winner right now in the season to me.
Yeah, I don't think he's anywhere close to below the level of like an MVP. If the season ended today and he won MVP, it wouldn't shock me.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't say he doesn't deserve it.
No, I wouldn't expect him to win, but I would think he deserved it.
Yeah, of course, 100%. But when you see the way guys like Jason Tatum are playing, I think it's honestly just Tatum at this point. Because Luka's team isn't good enough. They're dog shit. Jason Kidd doing Jason Kidd things. Yeah,
and I think like Steph has been unbelievable, but kind of the same thing. The Warriors just they're rising now, I think, because they don't play Wiseman. Yeah. I mean, it's like hard to figure out what was going wrong there. They sent James Wiseman.
We're all trying to figure out the guy who did this.
Yeah. But yeah,
I watched that now. I know the reference.
Oh, yeah,
I watched that skit.
I think you should. Yeah. That's a good one. Make time for this coming soon. But
it's like
Tatum shooting poorly from three, 30.8 points, 8 rebounds, 4.5 assists, 58% from two, 35% from three. Best team in the NBA. That's kind of open and shut. I'll be honest. That's kind of an open and shut MVP case.
It is.
Superstar numbers, like huge impact, best team. Okay.
But season's not over.
No. There's a lot of, 60?
Yeah.
Ish games to go? No, less than that. That many?
I think it's exactly 60.
We've played 22 only?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, 60 games to go.
So a lot of basketball to be played, and the Bucks are only 1.5 games behind Boston right now.
Yeah, so I think Giannis it's probably almost better because I feel like it's pretty rare lately.
Oh, and also Jokic is putting up monster numbers. He's not going to win MVP.
Yeah. They'd have to be much better. I mean, there is time, but he shouldn't win it. Like, if Giannis doesn't win his third in a row, Jokic shouldn't. He would have to do something. They'd have to be insanely good, and they're just not.
Yeah,
if they won 70 games, then sure.
They'd have to win 74 games.
No, they wouldn't have to win 74.
I think so.
I don't think. Unless the Celtics won like 68, or the Bucks did, in which case then they may have to win 74. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. The awards talk. It's obviously very early, but I think Giannis is. Well, I was gonna say. It doesn't. I feel like early season favorites don't usually win MVP these days. Maybe I'm wrong, but like, how much buzz has there been?
Because it's been Luka the last 3 years
and Embiid. It's not Luka and Embiid are always the two guys, and they never end up that. I mean, Embiid's finished second twice, but they never end up winning it.
Yeah, it's not how that works. Maybe Giannis in his second year. Yeah, that was the last time. Steph, maybe. No, I don't even think
15, 16, probably him. Yeah, because they were just like, geez, what do you do with that?
Yeah, it was coming off the title.
Yeah,
and then they win 73 games. Yeah,
that was probably the last time where it was like, oh yeah.
But that's like 7 years ago.
Yeah. Well, the problem now is the media who does the MVP coverage and gets the votes. They're just more interested in like making a point than they are in doing a good job giving out the award, and it's very stupid. Like. Give it to the most valuable player. You can argue about what that means, but there's all this like, oh, what would it mean if Jason Tatum won? I don't know. Let's see him win it. Like, if he goes out and wins it, fine. But I just hate this framework of like
a narrative-based voter.
Embiid has been second 2 in a row. It's really his time. Let's see if it's his time. It shouldn't be his time based on what happened with the voting last year or what people think about him. It should be his time based on, oh, they're first in the conference and he's lighting it up and they're way better when he plays.
Exactly. Preaching to the choir here, Ty.
I know. Let's talk about Jrue Holiday.
Yeah, quickly. A little bit.
Yeah.
It's all right.
I think very promising, and I think a little telling, honestly, that he had one of his best games of the year immediately when Khris comes back and kind of takes, not pressure, not like I think Jrue is crumbling, but just takes some of the offensive load off of Jrue Holiday, a player who, we have and can continue to argue about who is the number 2 in terms of talent or whatever, who's better between Jrue and Khris. The debate can be whatever. Clearly, offensively, it's Giannis, then Khris, then Jrue. And I think having Khris back, hopefully full-time, knock on wood here, will be very beneficial to Jrue, who just everything looked easier for him, and I think it just probably will be easier for him. I don't think that's just playing the Lakers. I think there's probably going to be a knock-on effect of Khris coming back. Like, everyone's life now just is so much simpler.
For sure. That's something, it's like being knocked down a peg in the hierarchy.
The totem pole.
Yeah, totem pole. It's just like, yeah, you have your number 2 guy back offensively. Yeah, Jrue Holiday, you have a much lighter load. You don't have to force as much. You don't have to be relied upon as much to do that. You don't have to have as high a usage rate to be able to make some weird decisions as a playmaker, throw some weird passes, take some weird shots.
I think that'll still happen. I'm not gonna get too carried away.
We can hope,
Yeah, we can hope.
But yes, I'm glad you said it's not coincidence that Jrue has one of his best games when Khris comes back, because that's what you want to see. When your 3 best players are healthy, your core guys are healthy and playing together, they should raise each other up. They should be playing well off of each other, and that's what we saw with Jrue Holiday in Khris Middleton's return. And he's still racking up assists. He's always going to get those. He's always going to be a solid playmaker. He's going to have his gaffes. He's going to have his mistakes, but he's going to be productive on the offensive end.
Yeah.
Even if he's not shooting the ball well, he'll still find ways to impact and get this team scoring. It's nice. It's very nice. Let's see if it holds up.
Yeah, hopefully. One thing I'll watch is his 2-point percentage. He's 51.6% from 2 this year. His first 2 Bucks seasons, he was 56%, 54.7%. And I think a lot of stuff was weird about the Bucks last year. I will hope, not that I would hope. It makes it sound like I need it to happen. But it would be interesting if he climbed back up to above 55% on those 2s now that Khris is back and just there's so much more space in the offense. We always talk about, and like clearly it's good for Giannis too, right? And Giannis got 40. I think Giannis's life is going to be a lot easier. Hopefully we see his usage trend down. I do not want him to lead the league in usage given the Bucks are, let that happen in the finals. That doesn't need to happen in December and November. But we always talk about Giannis with spacing conversations, right? Like, oh, we need spacing so life is easier for Giannis. Jrue could use some spacing too, right? Like everyone on offense is going to be better with more spacing. So I think even outside of the 17-7, the impact of Khris Middleton should help everyone in theory, at least. I mean, there's variance outside of this, but with Khris versus without Khris, offense should be easier for everyone.
For sure. Yeah. Like it's really nice. I don't know. I need more games of Khris Middleton in this Bucks team time.
I know.
I just need more
this week.
Yeah. Hopefully there's not going to be any games missed unless it's like a back-to-back. Are there any back-to-backs this week? I don't think so.
Monday and Wednesday were not. I didn't look farther than that.
Yeah, so we should theoretically, wow, I struggled with that. Get at least 2
Sunday
games.
Scary's hitting.
Yeah. Get at least 2 more games with Khris Middleton before we record next. But
yeah.
Do we have anything else we need to touch on here, Tom?
Let's do the Champagne Bros quickly as we just kind of walk through the team. Bobby and Pat. Bobby, it's like his 90s game, man. The shot, still kind of a question mark, but he did step up real nicely against Charlotte, and he continues to rebound the ball, score around the basket, etc. Pat just still feels like the same. I like what I'm seeing. He's rusty, but still just waiting for him to knock it off. I'm not concerned yet, but where are you at? I guess we can frame it by concern. Bobby's shot versus Pat. No, Bobby's shot versus Pat. Are you concerned about either? Where are you at on both?
I mean, I'm probably a little more concerned about Bobby's shot. I'm not really super concerned about Pat. Because we've seen him time and time again, like get out of shooting slumps, and just be able to step up in the highest moments. Like we've seen that. Bobby, it's just like, I'm glad he's finding ways to be more productive, even if his 3-point shot isn't there. Like he's still managing to get those little hook shots, those little runners, little push shots to go, get those face up jumpers to drop. He's mixing in some turnaround fades on occasion, which is like, do that, like you're a big guy. Like,
don't put him in a box, Rohan.
I just like, weaponize your size, but that's probably what I'm mostly more concerned about. But even that, I'm not really super duper concerned with that, because like I just said, he's still finding ways to be effective. His rebounding is ridiculous. Like his offensive rebounding is ridiculous this season. It's just, he's one of the most productive rebounders in the league. And it's just he's still finding ways to be effective, still finding ways to impact the team in a positive manner. And so I can't really be mad at it.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And I agree, it's nice to see, I think, both guys, more or less, finding ways to have positive impacts, even if the 3-point shot, for Pat, kind of any shot, but especially the 3-point shot, not falling. I think that is it then. Oh, real quick, I said it up top, the giveaway. So If you have not yet participated, this is for podcast listeners only. We're not putting it out there on social, any of that stuff. It's for real pod listeners. So if you tuned in and you said, I like the pod, and you want to win a signed Wisconsin Herd basketball. It's too far away for me to grab it. I did show it on a past episode. It does exist. All you have to do is by, I said, Monday, December 19th. Yes, by end of day, Monday, December 19th. Join the Discord, GSPN Discord. Link is in the link tree, in gspn.info. You can find Discord access there. It's easier than ever now. There is a giveaways channel. All you got to do is go in there, drop your favorite. Can be Gyro Step, Win in 6, GSPN Bucks collab, Cruising for a Bruising, Talking the Tundra, make time for this. Whatever pod it is, drop your favorite GSPN memory, joke, bit, thing, like trait, stuff that we do, whatever it is. The responses have been really cool to read through. We very much appreciate everyone entering and sharing. And if you want to do so, it's that easy. Go win a Herd basketball, potentially, that we will ship out the week before Khrismas. That can be our Christmas present to you. So yeah, that's the giveaway. Take part in that, please.
For sure. It's so nice to see like these entries and see what people are loving about this time of year. And also shout out to everyone who had listened to their Spotify Wrapped. Yes. Also, like it's amazing to see. Thank you for sharing. Just warms my heart, Ty. It makes me feel all emotional.
There's hundreds of people who have us in their at least top 10. I think also hundreds in top 5. That's so cool.
Right?
Thank you. And that's only Spotify. Like, oh man, I'm getting warm and fuzzy, Rohan.
I know, it's hard not. How can you not be romantic about podcasting?
Exactly.
But yeah, thank you all for listening. Make sure you enter that giveaway. Make sure you're subscribed wherever you're listening to this, watching this on YouTube. Check out all of the GSPN pods at gspn.info. Leave a 5-star rating and review on your podcast platform of choice. Pod Random, and we will talk to you next time.